Let me walk you through a three-step process in order to lose body fat for any woman over the age of 40. In fact, the step-by-step plan that I'm gonna share with you today in this video is the exact strategy that I use with my clients who are generally either going through perimenopause, menopause, and beyond, and who are looking to lose body fat but are sick and tired of being stuck in the dieting hamster wheel, and they want to be able to enjoy life but are just lacking a little bit of traction when it comes to getting their weight loss results. So there is three crucial elements that go into this process, which I'm about to share with you. First of all, as women transition through the different stages hormonally, so whether it's after childbirth or heading towards perimenopause and then menopause and beyond, our bodies become a little bit more susceptible towards stresses, and things aren't quite as easy like they used to be perhaps in your 20s, or looking back, you might have had really good success following a certain strategy and diet plan, or generally just eating clean and moving your body more, whereas now you might feel like, okay, well, I feel like I'm doing everything right, but nothing really seems to be working. And this particular aspect right there is something that is often hugely overlooked, because basically what works for someone in their 20s, or what works for like your husband and your partner, doesn't work for you if you are currently going through a shift in hormones. And that's really important to take into consideration when it comes to wanting to lose weight. And going back to the fact that due to the change of hormones, our body is going through the notion of, a decline in estrogen and progesterone, which basically means that, you can be eating a really, really clean diet and doing everything right, but just not getting the traction. And basically the reason being for that is that your metabolism might have slowed over the time. Metabolism is hugely linked to hormone health as well. And when the body is going through things like hot flashes, mood swings, maybe a lack of energy, maybe you're getting things like sugary or carb cravings that never used to be an issue for you, all of those things are basically telling us what your hormones are up to, and also how that's going to impact your metabolism. And that's why step one of the three-step blueprint that I use with my clients is literally dedicated on balancing your hormones and boosting the metabolism. Because if you don't take care of those hot flashes, if you are lacking energy and your body isn't super fit and healthy, and you're lacking a bit of that vitality, then putting you through a fat loss phase is just going to add more stress to the body, which means that might be the reason why you feel like you're doing all the right things, but you just aren't getting the traction. So it's almost like the pre-phase or the prep phase to dieting, so to speak. And it's really important to make sure that you are experiencing a really good high level of energy, so you don't feel like getting the 3 p.m. slump. And we want to get rid of pesky food cravings, and just making sure that you are feeling really, really good, that you feel like you're primed for the weight loss phase, because then when done properly, you will basically get rewarded for eating a clean diet, for managing your stress, for looking after yourself and taking care of your body. But if you are, showing signs of an imbalance or a sluggish metabolism, you need to cover those aspects first, because otherwise you find yourself frustrated, because you're just not going to get the results that you are after. So that's really, really important. And that's something that most women kind of, due to, a lack of awareness and a lack of education, are simply missing, because all we get told is you want to lose weight, you need to eat less and exercise more. But literally over 90% of women that I talk to already follow a really clean, healthy diet. There isn't much junk food involved. And it is really like one of those situations where it's not as easy as saying, oh, cut out all the sugar and this and that and you lose a lot of weight. That works if you are coming from a place where, you know, you can do some tightening and cleaning up in your diet. But if you generally feel like you are working out and you are eating well and you aren't getting the results, this is your reason, and you do not want to miss that very, very first step. Also, it's important to note that generally when you're conscious of how much you weigh and when you're looking to lose weight, we naturally, you know, are quite careful of what we eat and also how much we eat. And that basically means that you potentially may have been in a calorie deficit intentionally or subconsciously, because obviously your end goal being weight loss. And what that does to your metabolism is that after a while, if we just kind of, you know, are mindful of how much we eat, things come to a standstill. So that's often when women say like, oh yeah, I've lost a bit of weight and now I'm not seeing the shift anymore. So that basically just means that your metabolism has adapted to the energy that goes in versus the energy that goes out. So we need to be quite strategic about, you know, how long you are in a deficit, and knowing also, okay, well, what is it that you have been doing? So otherwise, I always like to refer to this with the analogy, you know, throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing if it sticks. So it's like saying, okay, well, I'm going to just cut my portions down a bit more and maybe increase my activity levels. It's not really strategic enough, and it's only going to get you that far. Like, we need to know exactly what it is that you have been doing, why it's not working, why things have come to a standstill. And then when you take care of that first step, the metabolic restoration and the hormone balance, you actually are going to find that your body, instead of trying to hold on to the weight to naturally protect you, your body's gonna let go of the weight. That's when you see the real transformation happen. So it's really important to look at it and see, okay, have I been in a deficit for quite some time? Is a plateau impacting my results? Just so you can form that base strategy. And then once you have primed your body and you actually are eating enough and you're moving and you've got, you know, things like hot flashes, food cravings and energy levels and all of that, your mood, I refer to as your biofeedback markers, if they are all pretty much in alignment, and by alignment it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but just so to the point where your body doesn't have to deal with all those other stresses on top of, you know, work and other commitments that you're having. So the more stress we can remove from the body, the more imbalanced and in tune your body is, the more likely you're gonna get the fat loss that you are after. And once you've done the pre-work, so to speak, the priming of the metabolism and the hormones, it's just going to be very easy to put yourself into a caloric deficit, because at the end of the day, it is a numbers game. So it's the equivalent of 500 calories less each day equates to half a kilo of body fat per week. Now, these are just some very sort of, you know, guideline based numbers just for you to get a bit of a feel of what's involved. And the majority of women that I talk to that come into my coaching world actually have been eating maybe 1200, 1300, 1400 calories. And then when you get to that point where you're really, really stuck, just think, okay, if I was gonna take 500 calories from my current food allowance away, for the majority, that would take you under 1,000 calories. And if you are also being quite active and you get your steps in and maybe you're working out as well, that's not enough food. And that's the sticking point for a lot of women that are transitioning through perimenopause and menopause, and where they get stuck, because essentially they run out of calories. So I'd love to know if this is something that you are resonating with and that you feel yourself in that hamster wheel, because I'm here to encourage you, to tell you that by doing the prep work, by making sure that you are priming your body, essentially you won't have to follow a diet that's incredibly restrictive, that's below 1,000 calories, and one that basically makes you miserable and grumpy. So by doing the pre-work, you've setting yourself up for success, right? So that's the fat loss phase. That's step number 2. That's when the magic happens. You see the scale going down at the same time. You are revving up your metabolism. Your measurements, your body measurements are going to change. gained, you're going to get more toned, because obviously we know that nutrition is key, but we also know that strength-based training is really important. I did a video on that a couple of weeks ago, so please do go back if you haven't seen it, so that you can incorporate some really specific movements and exercises based on your current situation. So then the fat loss phase is really, that's where the majority of your results will come from. And the first stage is really about feeling good, priming your body to then basically have that fat loss phase where it becomes less miserable, less restrictive, and you can have a balanced approach. It's not about depriving yourself, and it's not about, the good food and the bad food mentality. It's about having that balanced approach that fits in with your lifestyle and other commitments, but it allows you to still nourish your body, take care of your body, and ultimately reach your goals. And then step number 3 is lifestyle integration. So this is something that people often don't even think about when they're embarking on a weight loss journey, because we get so caught up in like, oh, I want the weight gone yesterday, that we don't even think about, okay, what happens when I reach my goal and how will I maintain it? And sadly, the statistics are literally that almost 95%, if not more, will regain the weight, right? Because you've done something drastic in the first place. Maybe you've done the keto, maybe you've done, 1 meal a day, extreme intermittent fasting protocols that have put you into quite a bit of a deficit. So yes, you were able to lose the weight, but the moment that you come off keto, or the moment you stop fasting, it's obviously, the same numbers game that applies when we're looking to lose weight, but also with gaining weight. So if suddenly your body isn't used to metabolizing carbohydrates anymore, when you turned yourself into a bit of a fat burner in terms of dietary fat I'm referring to here, then your body just don't know what to do with that extra energy received from the carbohydrates, and it gets stored as fat by your liver straight away. So it's not ideal. And then intermittent fasting, if we're going back to that example, if you can do it forever, that's fine, but you will come to a point that you need a bit more strategy to overcome a weight loss plateau. And again, the moment you go to eating more food, it's the 500 calorie equivalent again, your body will gain body fat back. And for most people, sadly, they do regain the weight because there is no strategy behind it. Whereas I basically encourage people to have a plan. And in my coaching practice, I basically show people, okay, now you've got your results, let's figure out how you can maintain them. And you basically, there's a really clever technique that I use that lets you decide how much food you want to be able to eat in order to maintain your results. And I know this sounds crazy, because most of you will be like, oh, I'm going to have to be on 1200 calorie diet, or I can't go off the fasting, or I've got to stick with keto, or I'm going to gain the weight. This strategy, I'm telling you, creates that sustainability that you have been missing. And when we're combining all 3 pieces, all 3 steps of the protocol, you're basically set for life, and you know how to make tweaks and adjustments as your body is changing. Because it would be too boring, but we do, as we age, things do slow down naturally, and life gets in the way, and we've got to take good care of our health and well-being. But with the 3 steps combined, you've got the skills and the knowledge to essentially continue your journey for maintenance. And that's really important. So I always find that a lot of women, they've got the right intentions, they've got the right that mindset, but they are just lacking the strategy. So it's really important to follow the 3 steps to really create long-term success, to get over the dieting mentality and all of those, really tempting quick fixes that are out there, because at the end of the day, they're just wrecking your metabolism, and they're impacting your hormones, and they're making it a lot harder down the track. So if you're looking for, that sustainability, you've got to balance the body. You've got to make sure that your body is primed. Take it through a sensible, sustainable fat loss phase where you still have a little bit of room for, your favorite treats or that glass of wine, but, you'll be able to stick to a plan in order to get the best of both worlds. And then most importantly, put some time and effort into, thinking how can you maintain those results so that you don't don't end up being stuck in a hamster wheel. So hopefully you'll be able to apply some of those things that I just shared with you. As always, please do like, also follow me, either subscribe to my YouTube channel, or just follow me on Facebook. That's mainly the most two places where I hang out the most. And if you haven't seen the announcement yet, I'm currently looking for 5 women for my next case study program, which essentially walks you through metabolic restoration and hormones balance, then fat loss activation and lifestyle integration, so that you can lose 10 to 15 kilos of body fat over the next 6 months, in case you're looking to really get the most out of the winter season in time for summer, because summer bodies are made in winter. That way around, I'm already one step ahead. So if you are keen to find out more about the case study program and what it entails, and if you want to make sure it's a good fit for you, comment case study down below. Alternatively, feel free to shoot me a private message and we can have a chat, and I can walk you through exactly what's entailed, what you can expect, so we'll make sure it's a good fit for you. So thank you for taking the time to tune in and watch the video, and I'll see you next time.